Darci Lynne's mom has revealed the shocking truth about what really happened backstage, and it's far from the happy story we all believed. Behind Darci's dazzling ventriloquist acts and winning smiles was a young girl facing unimaginable pressure. Fame, once a dream, quickly turned into a relentless force that took over her life. The cost? Her childhood, her friendships, her sense of self. Tune in as we uncover the heartbreaking reality that almost shattered her journey, and why the story doesn't end there. Darci Lynne seemed like the fairytale winner of America's Got Talent in 2017, but behind the scenes, things were far from perfect. Let's pull back the curtain on what really happened, the stuff they don't want you to know, and how the pressure of fame comes at a price, especially for someone so young. Behind the smiles, a dark secret was brewing, one that could shatter everything. The truth is coming, and it's nothing like you imagined. That 12-year-old with a puppet and a voice that stunned the world had a lot more going on backstage than anyone knew. Her dad? Clueless about what was brewing while his little girl was putting on a brave face in front of millions. Fame came with a price tag, and she paid it in full. The moment she stepped on that *AGT* stage, her childhood was basically up for grabs. She had been a shy Oklahoma kid who hid behind her mom, terrified to even look people in the eye. That all changed after a simple talent competition, or so it seemed. She was winning competitions and already pulling in fans. Gary Owen, a professional ventriloquist, saw her talent and decided to manage her. She was barely into middle school when she was signing deals. Under his guidance, her career took off, but that's also when things began to get a little dicey. Fame, money, and adults managing everything. If this doesn't scream a red flag, I don't know what does. She charmed everyone with her first *AGT* audition, dazzling the judges and getting the golden buzzer. Her ventriloquism mixed with singing? Iconic. The whole world seemed to love her, but behind the applause, there was a different story. Her mom, Misty, may have wanted her to focus more on singing while she kept her passion for ventriloquism alive, regardless of the consequences. Darci toured the country, doing over 50 shows across the US. She had an audience hanging on her every word, fans that brought puppets to her shows, all wanting to be just like her. She also became a regular on TV, popping up on everything from *The Ellen DeGeneres Show* to Jeff Dunham's Halloween special. No one could deny she was successful, but at what cost? Let's not forget the industry she's in, one that loves to take bright young talents and chew them up before they even realize what's happened. She might be smiling for the cameras, but the pressures of fame and expectations aren't something that just go away, especially when you started out as a child prodigy. It seems like she is in a phase of trying to redefine herself. She's diving into music, getting back into songwriting, and maybe, just maybe, trying to step away from the puppet world a little. Her Instagram shows her working with a band, playing guitar, trying her hand at a new version of herself. Could ventriloquism fade into the background while she pursues a different creative path? Who knows? But one thing is for sure, the pressure is still there. From being a shy kid in Oklahoma to becoming a millionaire child star, her story is both inspiring and heartbreaking. While her talents are undeniable, the cost of that success is still up for debate. And as she moves forward, trying to navigate a career that started when she was barely out of elementary school, we can only hope she finds a balance that works for her, a place where the applause isn't just covering up what's really going on backstage. She dressed up, smiled for the judges, sang songs, and acted like a little performer in a grown-up world. Her confidence slowly grew, but it didn't take long before she was looking for something more, something she could call her own. Gymnastics didn't do it for her, neither did the Broadway tunes. It was at a talent show where she saw a ventriloquist that her life changed. She wasn't just interested, she was obsessed. Ventriloquism became her way to express herself without facing the terrifying world head-on. Her mom wasn't convinced, though. Misty wanted her to stick to singing, but she had already found her escape through puppetry. After winning America's heart, Darci's life got more difficult. Let's uncover the real story behind the fame. Darci practiced for hours on end. When other kids were playing outside or hanging out with friends, she was in front of a mirror, rehearsing with her puppet. She wasn't just trying to learn a new hobby, she was perfecting her craft, mastering how to speak without moving her lips, and bringing life to a puppet that could say all the things she was too shy to say herself. She was only 10 when Gary Owen, the ventriloquist who became her mentor, noticed her. Suddenly, she wasn't just performing for fun, she was being groomed for the big leagues. Her life shifted from after-school activities to contracts. By the time she stepped on the *AGT* stage, she wasn't just talented, she was a seasoned performer. She knew how to work the crowd, how to deliver a perfect act under immense pressure. She was 12, but she performed like a pro. Her golden buzzer moment was magical, the audience erupted, and the judges couldn't believe their eyes. But what no one saw was the enormous pressure building behind that golden moment. She had become the face of season 12, and with that came expectations that only continued to grow. Winning *AGT* was supposed to be her happily ever after. 52 million people voted for her, cheering her name as she took the stage one final time. The confetti fell, her family rushed to hug her, and it seemed like a fairy tale ending. But the reality was that this was just the beginning of a new chapter, one where the stakes were higher, the pressure was greater, and the cost of any mistake was monumental. She went from being a contestant to a winner, and now the world expected more from her. She admitted that the stage fright she experienced during her return to *AGT, Champions * was worse than ever before. This wasn't the same shy kid hiding behind her mom anymore, this was a young woman who had been through the ringer of fame and was now facing it all over again. She performed brilliantly, of course, but that didn't mean the fear wasn't there, gnawing at her before every performance. The entertainment industry takes young talents, molds them into what it wants, and then, once they've served their purpose, moves on to the next. She might have been the star of 2017, but it's 2024 now, and there are new faces, new talents. She has to keep evolving, keep showing up, or risk being forgotten. That's the dark side of fame, and she is facing it head-on. She's trying to evolve, to move beyond the ventriloquism that made her famous. Her Instagram shows her playing guitar, hinting at a love for music that goes beyond the puppet shows. Maybe this is her way of stepping away from what's expected of her and finding something that's truly hers. Her move into acting also shows her desire to be more than just a ventriloquist. *A Cowgirl Song* wasn't just another gig, it was a chance to prove that she could do more, that she had more to offer than just puppets and ventriloquism. She got to act, sing, and tell a story, and it gave her a glimpse of a world beyond the puppet stage. But even that came with its challenges. Acting was new, and it required her to step out of her comfort zone once again. But she did it, and she did it well, proving that she's more than just a one-trick pony. Even her education had to take a backseat. She tried to stay in public school, to hold on to some semblance of normal life, but eventually, she had to switch to homeschooling. It was the only way to keep up with her career and still get an education. It worked, but it also meant that she was even more isolated from kids her age. Darci has achieved more in her young life than most people ever will, but it has come at a price. The fame, the pressure, the anxiety, it's all part of the package. And while she's trying to find her way now, to redefine who she is and what she wants to be, the shadow of her ventriloquist past will always be there. The world knows her as the girl with the puppets, and it's hard to break away from that. As she moves forward, it's clear that she's trying to find a balance. She wants to explore new avenues, to see what else she can do, but ventriloquism is still a big part of her life. It's what made her famous, what brought her to where she is today. But she's more than just a ventriloquist. She's a singer, an actor, a musician. She's a young woman trying to find her way in a world that has already put her in a box. And that's not easy. As she moved forward, the challenges only got bigger. Let's see how fame affected her life even more. Darci Lynne has already accomplished so much, but there's still so much more she wants to do. The pressure is still there, the expectations are still high, but she's not giving up. She's pushing forward, exploring new paths, and trying to find out who she really is beyond the puppets and the fame. It's a journey that's both inspiring and heartbreaking, and only time will tell where it will lead her. She was the sweet, shy kid from Oklahoma who skyrocketed to fame after winning America's Got Talent in 2017. It sounds like a dream, right? Except it wasn't all rainbows and applause backstage. Fame comes at a price, and she paid with her social life, friendships, and sanity. Behind the ventriloquism act that made America fall in love, there's a story that's far less glamorous, a young girl trying to keep it together as everything she knew got swept away. Darci was just an introverted girl, living an ordinary life with her friends and family. A shy kid, her parents thought talent shows might help her come out of her shell, classic parent stuff. And it worked. They found out their kid could not only throw her voice, but she could do it while singing and making people laugh. From there, things escalated quickly, and before she knew it, she was catapulted into the national spotlight. But that's when the real challenges started. Fame wasn't exactly friendly to her friendships. Imagine going from sleepovers and school dances to rehearsals, interviews, and nationwide tours. Suddenly, there was no time for the usual stuff regular kids do. While her childhood friends were goofing off at school events, she was performing on big stages and doing press junkets. The kind of gap this creates is pretty obvious. It's tough to stay close to people when you're literally never there. And even if she could make time for her old friends, keeping up those relationships got awkward. She was off living a completely different life, while her friends were still worried about passing math class and getting home in time for dinner. There just wasn't much common ground left. And you know how it goes, when the conversations get weird and out of sync, friendships start to fade. Then there's the new friends issue. Once you're famous, everybody wants to be your friend, but not all of them for the right reasons. She found herself in that classic celebrity trap, trying to figure out who actually likes you for you and who just wants a piece of the spotlight. Trust issues? Absolutely. And with good reason. When you're young, that kind of pressure to separate the real from the fake makes you just put up walls. It's a lonely way to live, even if you're constantly surrounded by people. In the middle of all this chaos, her family tried to stay her anchor. Her parents, Misty and Clark, and her brothers Nick, Dalton, and Nate did their best to keep things normal. But let's be honest, normal is a tough ask when your kid is on TV and her schedule is busier than most adults. On top of that, her parents were juggling both being her caregivers and her career managers. That's a lot to put on any family dynamic. It's easy for things to get complicated when your mom is both making you dinner and negotiating your next performance deal. Of course, her mental health took a hit. She was a kid being thrust into an adult world, and that's bound to mess with your head. She's been pretty open about her struggles with anxiety and stage fright, which, honestly, is a lot to deal with on its own, never mind doing it with the whole world watching. The pressure of always having to be on, of never really getting to just be herself, is exhausting. Being famous means every single move is scrutinized, like there's always a spotlight, even when she just wants to fade into the background for a bit. And let's not forget about the public's expectations. Everyone's watching, waiting for her next big move, her next perfect performance. It's like she can never mess up, never have a bad day. And for a teenager, that's impossible, except, of course, the public seems to forget she's human. She's not some flawless puppet, no pun intended. But fame doesn't allow mistakes, which makes everything so much more stressful and definitely isn't healthy for a kid trying to figure out who she is. Darci has tried to carve out some space for herself outside of ventriloquism. She's gotten into music, singing, playing guitar, even thought about acting. It's her way of breaking free from being just the ventriloquist kid, and honestly, she deserves that. She needs something that's hers, something where she's not just performing for others, but actually enjoying herself. Fame is suffocating if you don't have a way to escape it. The friendships that faded, the struggle to know who to trust, the toll on her mental health, all of it paints a picture that's far from the ideal fairy tale people think of when they see a young star rising. It's a reminder that fame isn't always the dream it's cracked up to be, especially when it's thrown at you before you're even old enough to drive. About holding on to what's real, her family, her sense of self, in a world that's constantly trying to turn her into a brand instead of a person. It's about realizing that behind every smile on stage is a kid who's dealing with way more than they should have to, trying to make sense of a world that's far too adult for them. Fame changed everything, and not always for the better. But through it all, she's trying to figure out who she really is, and hopefully, she finds her way to a life that feels a little less like a show and a little more like hers. Her journey from small-town Oklahoma to the national stage was nothing short of meteoric, but it's a journey that's fraught with unexpected struggles and sacrifices. To truly understand her story, we need to take a closer look at the world she's found herself in, one where fame doesn't just elevate a person, but also isolates them. There's a part of her life that's simply not captured by the dazzling performances and the glowing interviews. It's the parts that happen behind the curtains, in the quiet moments when she's left alone to confront what's been happening to her. But the demands of fame aren't limited to the lack of privacy. The workload that came with her success was enormous. The interviews, the performances, the practice sessions, they all took time, and lots of it. It's exhausting enough for an adult to keep up with, but for her, it was overwhelming. Days started early and ended late, and the schedule barely left her time to breathe. The constant travel and lack of a stable routine took its toll. School was replaced by tutors, and time with friends was replaced by the demands of show business. Everything that was once familiar was upended by this new life. While many kids her age were dealing with school assignments, friend drama, and deciding what to wear to the next school dance, she was managing a grueling work schedule. It's a lot of responsibility, and it's easy to see why the pressure got to her. Not only did she have to be constantly prepared to perform, but she also had to do it flawlessly. Any mistake would be broadcast to millions, dissected by strangers, and analyzed by critics. For someone still trying to grow up and learn who they are, that's an unbearable amount of stress. So, did Darci Lynne truly win, or did the cost of fame take away more than it gave her? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.